siblings, and of course, yourself. I mentioned oneself because that's where the real learning lies. You're your own competitor, and you yourself can better yourself. The ones around you serve as the catalyst, with their selfless nature, as they wish the best for you. It works in a similar fashion at Toastmasters Club itself as well, where you grow into a better speaker and a better leader. So how does that happen? It is it is merely a result of the peer support who constantly encourage each other to better themselves. The mentors work tirelessly so that you can improve, and of course, you reciprocate in the same way, so that you cultivate this playground, a strong playground where you can experiment and grow your skills, so that in the life outside you excel. With that, let's begin the session for today. And this is, of course, the theme for today, which is the Teachers' Day celebration. I sincerely hope you enjoy the meet. We have some action packed speeches today that will surely motivate you and give you a different perspective on public speaking and leadership. It is my privilege to introduce the chief guest for today's ceremony. Mr. Anjum Sayeed completed his master's in computer applications from the University of Mysore in 1994. Since his graduation, he has spent his time solving real-life problems with his knowledge and expertise. He has been a co-founder of three organizations, namely Harmony Software, Delphi Software Private Limited, and of course our beloved Greytip Software Private Limited. He has led the team from the front for the past 17 years as a chief technical officer and continues to inspire everyone in the organization. His sheer determination and hard work serve as the perfect example of how a leader should be. Without further ado, let's hear it from the chief guest of today's ceremony, Mr. Anjum Sayeed. Before we begin, I would request all of you, when a speaker is speaking, you can pin the video so that you can see the speaker in their full glory. So you can see an icon which allows you to pin the speaker. Please do that while Mr. Anjum starts speaking. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Tirth. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see all of you on Saturday morning to celebrate Teachers' Day. In fact, Teachers' Day is a bit special because both my parents have been teachers. So I can connect well with it. I have not much to say about Teachers' Day, but as Tirth was saying, we are all lifelong learners, and we learn from each other. So it's we are actually celebrating each one of us because all of us are teachers for one another, and with that, I think Debarshi has asked me to speak not about teachers, unfortunately, which I would have loved to speak about, but talk more about communications. I don't know why he chose that topic for me. Maybe he thinks I'm a communications expert. But of course, I live and breathe communication, and communication, I believe, is one of the most important aspects of one's life, and it is a key for success. So I can talk a lot about communication, and hopefully I'll share with you some of the not so obvious parts of communication, because communication is so many things, and you can't just really focus on one area. I'll just not take too much time. I don't know how much time is allocated to me, but I'll just briefly touch on some things that you may or may not be aware, and I'll take it forward from there. But before we start, we can take a deep breath. Okay. So breathing is so natural. I mean, without breath, we don't exist. But we have forgotten how to breathe. And it's something that we do a lot of it not well. Similarly, communication is something that we cannot exist with. It's a inherent part of ourselves, and without communication, we can't succeed and we can't do much. So Like breathing, we also need to practice communication. And if we practice it well, breathing can transform your life and communication can transform your life. Okay, both have immense power. So, in this session, I'll be talking about three topics which I think are important to be talked about. Uh, but one of the things about learning is that it's not just enough to read about a particular topic or even watch a video, because these days videos are popular. YouTube is one of the strong mediums for learning, or even do Coursera or Udemy courses. They're all good because it generates a lot of awareness, and you get to know about what it is that you need to be aware of and what are the various aspects about that particular topic. But the real learning happens when you do, and that's how Toastmasters is a very important club, because here you don't get GAN, you don't get speeches. Okay, you actually come and do the speech. Okay, of course you also get speeches, but not in a traditional way. So you learn by doing, and you focus on a lot of aspects about what good oral communication is all about. But I'll not be talking about those aspects here because you anyway learn that in Toastmasters. What I want to focus is on three topics, okay, which I am not sure whether you're all aware of or not, but I thought it should be important to touch upon. The first one is active listening, and the second thing is what's called as non-violent communication, and the third thing is asynchronous communication. So these are all parts of communication, but these are all more relevant in today's times. So I would like to just briefly touch on this. I'm not going to take a masterclass on these topics because they're all very wide topics and entire books have been written about it. And I don't think I can do justice in a 10-minute speech. But my job is to bring it to your awareness, and hope you focus and pay attention to these topics, because they can make you a lot better in terms of being an effective communicator. So coming to the first topic, which is active listening. Uh, even in Toastmasters, a lot of our focus is on how to be a good speaker. So we focus on, let's say, diction or grammar or presentation, delivery, gestures, uh, avoiding verbal takes. So a lot of it is about improving our delivery, how we deliver our speech and how we communicate and how we maintain the interest levels, and how we ensure that we deliver value to our listeners and our audience. But listening is not something that we focus that much about. Okay, and one of the 50% of communication is listening. So there is this quote you may have heard that says, God gave us 2 ears and one mouth, because you can listen twice as much as you speak. So listening is extremely important component of communication, and because there is any communication is made up of two parts. There is transmission and there is reception. Okay, if there is no reception, then you're just talking to the mountains. I mean, nobody listens to you as such. So it's very important for us to also focus on the listening part. Now, coming to the listening aspect, the way most people listen is that they're very impatient during listening. Okay, whenever there is a conversation, people are just waiting for their chance to speak. Okay, so listening is nothing but impatient wait for your chance to speak. And many times people are not even willing to do this. They just interrupt, and they want to have their say. So these are things that happen with not good listening. So one is, with active listening, you can improve the overall quality of communication, and not just quality of communication, but your interactions, your relationships, your how effective it is, and how much more you can develop the conversation. So there are some parts of active listening that you need to look at. One of the most important one is that when you enter a conversation, you bring a lot of respect, and you deal with mutual trust, and also some amount of uh, respect. So without this, right from the word go, the conversation is going to go downhill, because if you're not respecting the other person or his words, or if there is no trust between you, then there is no point in communicating, right? So that's one of the first things. The second cardinal rule is you never interrupt. Okay, you listen patiently. You let the other person say everything he has to say. Okay, because until you have heard him or her, you will not know what they're trying to say. So you shouldn't be jumping to conclusion. You shouldn't be trying to quickly rebut them or this thing. So listen them out. Then the third most important thing, which is again critical for active listening, is that you paraphrase. Okay, you try to understand whether you have properly understood what the other person is saying, because many a time our own mental models don't let us properly hear what they're trying to say. They may be saying X, but you heard it Y. So it's always important that you clarify by paraphrasing, by putting it in your own words what you heard, and say, is this what I'm hearing? Okay, that goes a long way in trying to remove misunderstandings, and you can have a much better quality of conversation. uh, I mean, this is all important if you really want to have a conversation. If you want to have a shouting match, you don't need this. Okay, so you can rather use your all your choicest phrases and French that you have. That would have more satisfaction for you, rather than trying to be doing active listening. Okay, so that's more of venting, not listening. So I think for us, it's a very critical component, and I urge you to focus on this active listening. Uh, so I'll move on to the next topic, which is non-violent communication. Okay, this is something that after a long period I got to learn. I wish I had learned this concept a lot more earlier in my life than later in life. So what is nonviolent communication? So nonviolent communication, again, the goal of nonviolent communication is very similar to active listening, to improve our conversations, and not just improve conversations, to improve our lives. Because one of the things that we want to do is to have a more fulfilling life, fulfilling relationships, and better interpersonal relationships. And one thing that can help us is non-violent communication. So to understand non-violent communication, we need to first figure out what violent communication is. Okay, so of course, violent communication could be misunderstood to be violent speech. We all have a lot of violent speech that we hear. You can even say things like, "I will kill you," or "I will, give you a tight slap," or even in our own languages, you can say thu, chaplin dauditini, okay, or things of those sort. Okay, these are all very natural things which have violence in the language itself. Okay, but non-violent communication is not necessarily just using violent words in your communication. There is many different types of violence you can have in your words. You can be sarcastic, you can be judgmental, you can try to insult somebody without using very bad words. You can be disrespectful. There are lots of things that we do in our speech which leads to violence. Okay, but we don't think it hurts. Okay, in fact, if you see, there is this saying, stones, sticks and stones might hurt me, but words don't. Something of that. I don't exactly recall what it is, but words do hurt. Words cause a lot of damage. Words have power. Okay, so the thing is, how do we make sure that we adopt what's called as non-violent communication, and what is non-violent communication? So I would say non-violence is a gift and our contribution from Indians to the world. Okay, it is a concept that has been developed over millennia, and particularly Mahatma Gandhi ji has brought this in front of the world, and it's a very powerful and very powerful concept as such. But nonviolent communication is something similar and derived to some extent from this. This was a concept that has been developed by a guy called Marshall Rosenberg in 60s. And I think all of us need to read up. He has a book. There's a lot of videos online on YouTube. I would recommend that we pick it up and then figure it out. So the whole premise of nonviolent communication is that when you are having a communication, you can improve the quality of communication if you can, change the way you talk to one another as such. Okay, instead of being judgmental or trying to bring in a lot of things, there is a certain technique, there is a certain way in which we can go about and try to approach the conversation. So, in fact, there are four parts to it that he talks about. The first thing is that uh, when we are hearing something from somebody, instead of just reacting, because we always have a choice to react or to try to put it in context and try to diffuse the situation, because usually our conversations that don't go well are a series of exchanges which over a period of time escalate. So you don't need to let it to escalate, and you can start right at the bud. You can nip it. So one of the things is to observe and state back what you are observing, and then the second thing is to also do a feeling audit, as a emotional audit of what are you feeling, how is this triggering some thoughts in you or triggering some reaction in you, why does it trigger a reaction in you, and then you convey what your need is and what you want out from the conversation, and then finally you also do what's called as a request, like you can ask something from the other person, say what do you want from the conversation as such. So you may not always get it, but if you follow these approaches, you can have the quality of your communications might be far better than what it could be. So I think I'm running out of my time. I'm just watching my timer, so I'll try to do, because one of the things I know is you Toastmasters are very particular about time, and I don't know if somebody is going to show me a card, a green card and a red card. Okay. Anyway, so the final aspect of this is again about communication, and uh, if you see, today we are doing this in a Zoom call, Google Meet call, and that's because there is a historical divide now. Okay, we look at history in terms of BC and AC. Okay, that is before COVID and after COVID. Okay, and now in the AC world, a lot of things have changed, and most of our meetings we would have sat in our auditorium or a training room and had this session, but right now we are doing it over a Google Meet call. But this is not the only way of communicating. So one of the things in the AC world is that we need to learn what's called as asynchronous communication. So what is synchronous communication and what is asynchronous communication? Okay. So the type of meeting that we are having right now is synchronous communication. All of us need to be there at the same time. We all need to connect together. And if we don't connect, we miss out on the conversation. Like if I suddenly develop my internet issue, or my voice is not happening, and the most famous words for 2020, you're on mute. Okay, those are all artifacts of, if we can't get the synchronous communication well. There are many other problems like lag and all of those things. So the oldest form is also telephone communications. Like I call you and the phone rings and you have to pick up and you have to answer. Synchronous communication requires that the both parties be there at the same time, and they need to talk about it. And synchronous communication, I think we feel a lot more comfortable because our reactions can be faster. We can have a quicker conversation, and we might get things done faster. Also, it always feels good to connect, look at each other, look at each other's faces, and connect socially. Because in the AC world, we have all been locked up in our houses. We can't have social interactions. There has been a lot of social distancing. So synchronous communication has its uses, but what I feel is that we are overusing it, and using it as the only sole means of communication. Okay. So what can help us is if we can bring in asynchronous communication. Because today all of us are, there is a word now called as Zoom fatigue. I don't know if you have heard of these, but Zoom fatigue happens when we are spending a lot of time in Zoom meetings or Google Meet as such, and particularly with the video on. It creates a huge, it's a real effect, and I think if you can Google this, you'll find hundreds of articles now, and probably some studies also would have been done by now. Zoom fatigue is real, and it has an impact on your mental stress. It causes mental exhaustion, and it's quite troublesome. So I think what we need is to balance it out with asynchronous communication, because synchronous communication has its need. It is a social function, and we need to have it. It's not that you shouldn't have any social interaction at all, or a synchronous communication. But you need to balance it out. In my view, I think it should be reduced to more like a 30-70 mix, 30 synchronous and 70 asynchronous, rather than it all being both just synchronous. So what is asynchronous? Asynchronous is when you communicate and it's like email. Like you send a mail and then the other person responds back, and then you send it back. But there are many other ways in which you can, start communicating this. There are techniques to do this. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to explain to you what are some of those techniques that we can do. But it's also using things like a good project management software, where every activity you do, you can track it, and it sends messages, and you have. So, for example, we use Basecamp, and it's an excellent tool for this kind of asynchronous work. Yeah, we need to be using a lot more of these tools. And asynchronous chats. Chat can be synchronous or asynchronous. We should be using a lot more of asynchronous chat. And there are again entire books written on it. I would recommend that you look up this item and then get started. Prasanna is already giving me a subtle hint. So with that, I think I'll leave you with these thoughts. So basically, we have been focusing on three important aspects of communication relevant for this day and age. One, active listening. Two, nonviolent communication. And then finally, asynchronous communication. Hope this was helpful to you, and hope this added value to you. Thank you, guys.
Can we have a huge round of applause for Anjum sir? Thanks a lot, sir, for that informative session. I actually learned a lot, and I was practicing active listening at the same time. So thanks a lot for that. The 3 points, the three concepts that you brought in front of us: active listening, non-violent communication, and asynchronous conversation. Those three concepts, I've actually heard about those, but I did not have an idea of how deep they could be and how they could actually influence us. Even being a Toastmaster, this was a piece of information that I did not know. And I'm thankful to you for sharing the same with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now we'll move on to our second speaker for the day, who is the guest of honor. Kumar Bansal, only called Raj, joined Toastmasters in early 2001 when Toastmasters was in infancy in India. Since then, he has been a strong backbone to starting clubs at Infosys in India and Sri Lanka. As a passionate Toastmaster for the last 19 years, he has served in various capacities of club officer, area and division level officer, and has been our club road director, program quality director, and the district director. He has been deeply involved with corporates like Accenture, Honeywell, HP, TVS Motors, Wipro, HCL, just to name a few. In his words, it was his proudest moment when he was chosen as our country's flag bearer in a 3,000 plus global audience at Toastmasters International Convention in August 2019. Not less an honor of an Olympic sport. Professionally, Raj is qualified mechanical engineer with honors. He has done his master's from BITS Pilani and MBA from the prestigious business school FMS Delhi University. He has 28 years of industry experience, of which close to 19 years has been with Infosys, now serving as an associate vice president at Infosys Leadership Institute. Friends, let's welcome District 92, immediate past District 92 Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Raj, who is making a difference to the young and old alike by changing lives one at a time. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Tirth, for that I would say flattering introduction. Almost I gave it to you. So thank you so much. And I was attentively listening and making notes when our chief guest was speaking about the communication. So I welcome the presence of the Chief Technical Officer, Greytip software company, Mr. Anjum Sayeed. Thank you so much, sir, for being part of this wonderful occasion. And today I was just thinking while you were speaking and I was listening, I was reminded of my engineering college days when I would attentively listen, and I was actually a good student. I listened to my professors, and your talk was nothing less than that. On this Teachers' Day, I want to salute you for a wonderful address to all of us. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing those nuggets of wisdom. Thank you. Today I thought I'll use this Teachers' Day occasion. What better way to share my learning? So what I will do today is I'll share 19 years of my being in Toastmasters. Yes, I've been in Toastmasters for 19 years. Not once people have asked me, why have you stayed so long, or why have you not left? Because they don't dare to ask me. Not from that point of view, but it has never crossed my mind ever to leave Toastmasters. And what I'm going to share is the reason why, what has kept me going in Toastmasters for those 19 years. Recently, I also celebrated my 20th anniversary in my company called Infosys. And of course, I did get a question in the last few years back. One by one software engineer said, "Sir, you didn't get a job. That's why you stayed so long." But yes, in Toastmasters, it is not that question ever asked, that why have you stayed so long? So what I will do is I'll share some of the learnings and maybe pepper them with some anecdotes. And I would request the timer to keep me honest on the time. I believe I have got 8 minutes from here onwards. So let me talk about the first thing I felt Toastmasters to me is a learning laboratory. And when I say this, because I've often found that we can experiment in Toastmasters our various styles of communication. I wanted to test my humorous speaking skills. Humor doesn't come naturally to me. So I tried once. Nobody laughed at my joke. I thought it was funny, but none of them thought it was funny enough. And there was another occasion where I tried a humorous speech contest and people were rolling on the floor. And they told me offline saying you can be a good stand-up comedian. The best ever compliment I got on humorous speaking. So you can try various aspects of your speaking or your listening. For example, you can get distracted very quickly. And therefore, we also learn that if you speak beyond 7 minutes, people are going to lose you. So be relevant to the audience while you're speaking. So you keep learning, you keep experimenting. And when I say laboratory, if you look at laboratory, the reflection is of any, like Einstein, right? So Einstein, all the innovations happen in the laboratory, right? We talk about garage today, but earlier days it was all called laboratory. And I believe that it's a place where you can try. You can try yourself as a speaker. You can try yourself as a listener or a various role taker, as a leader. All try. And experiments not always succeed. And therefore, you fail, you learn, you fail, you learn. And the only way, as Anjum Sayeed was talking about, that you have to continuously learn. And therefore, it is a place where you learn by experimenting. The day you stop experimenting, you stop learning. For example, there was a club which experimented by doing a reverse meeting. So you start by saying word of thanks, followed by the evaluation of the speech not given yet. It was a funny, hilarious thing, and we all enjoyed that. None of us knew what is going on. It was an experiment, and then we innovated. Yesterday, last week, they wanted me to do a table topic session, and I got a wheel where I put everybody's like a roulette, right? I put all the participants' name there, and I rotated the wheel, and some name came out. It was so random versus trying to find a volunteer. So you can keep innovating, and you can keep trying. The only thing I can say is every laboratory is unique. I'm sure Einstein wouldn't have been successful if he were to move to another laboratory. So make your laboratory, great orators, unique by experimenting and learning from experiments. That's the first thing. It is a learning laboratory. The second part I want to talk about in Toastmasters is the word called failure doesn't exist in Toastmasters. This is something very unique. Just think of this, right? Nobody fails in Toastmaster. Can you believe this? So when you give a speech, you can't fail a speech. Nobody can tell you, oh, you didn't meet the objective, so you better repeat the speech. You can't. You give a speech, you get a feedback, you can move on. You want to repeat, you repeat. You want to continue, continue. So nobody fails as a speaker, nobody fails as a listener, as an evaluator, as a role taker. Nobody fails. As a leader, you don't fail. Yeah, there are guidelines and rules and all that, but you don't fail. And this is something which is very unique. And when I say failure, you can come across in your life so many failures. Sometimes you may, if I were to talk about my journey, I can go on forever. But there's so many times I've failed. I've failed 40 interviews, and I'm not kidding. I'm serious when I say this word 40, because I can reload the name of the company: Tata Motors, L&T, Powai, or Ashok Leyland, or Carrier Econ, or Voltas, or Brook Bond, or Philips. I can name the companies. I failed. I didn't clear it. And the reason why I'm saying is because you learn only from failures. If I got the job in Tata Motors on the 3rd of January of 1991, when I was in final semester, I wouldn't have had so many experience of a failure. I wouldn't have learned. So failure teaches you more than your successes. And I feel that in Toastmasters, we don't fail. We learn from each other and we grow from this. The third aspect of Toastmasters I want to talk about, which is interesting, is people management skills. I'm sure leaders in this room and outside will believe that the best leaders are the ones who can manage people well. If you heard Simon Sinek, he would say, leaders don't lead organizations, they lead people. And you learn in Toastmasters that you have to lead people who have nothing to do with your hierarchy. They don't care about you whether you are AVP in Infosys or what. They care about you being in Toastmaster as any other member. They don't look at your profile, your career history, whether you're a housewife, you're a software engineer, you're a leader, you're a man, doesn't matter. And nobody can be given a task to do and you can shout on it. As Anjum were talking about violent communication. What is violent communication? You can't. If somebody doesn't do a job, you go take a walk. You can't even shout at that guy, and still that person delivers for you. I'll give an example. Today after this call, I have a presentation on Digest training program, and there was a miscommunication between me and the program quality director Sagnik Vishwas. Yesterday at 9:30, I said, "You want to make the deck?" He said, "No, Rajkumar, I thought you were making it." I said, "I don't know. Now what do I do it? 12 hours to go." He said, "I will do it, Rajkumar." On his own, you won't believe, he made the best ever presentation I've ever seen. Brilliant presentation. 2:42 a.m. he sends me the deck, and I woke up in the morning and I find it in my inbox. That's the commitment. I couldn't have told him, Sagnik, you go and do it right now because I have to make a presentation. You gotta say, go take a walk. It's something like people feel internally obliged that we are part of a community. We have to make it successful. There was a communication gap. Maybe I should have clarified with Rajkumar earlier, but let's make it successful for people outside. So that's how Toastmasters is. We manage people without trying to boss over them, without trying to show that I am the person. It doesn't work. The fourth aspect is about networks. Now, network is something which we all know. We can build networks here. But I'll give an example. There was this Toastmaster who was going to Australia for the first time, Sydney, for the city. He asked many of his colleagues in office, you have been to Sydney earlier. Can you give me some tips about? He says, go to Google, do Lonely Planet, go and search for this one, go booking.com, make a flight. Everybody gave links, but nobody get inputs for how to manage in Sydney. Then he came to a Toastmasters club. And in fact, he went to Sydney and he found a Toastmasters club there. And he went there and said, I am from India, from Bangalore, and I want to explore the city. So the whole Toastmasters community went all over to help him find an accommodation. They took him around. They told him which are the places to visit, not to visit, and all kind of stuff. He said, I never thought that Toastmasters Club could be that platform where I can get so much information globally. Yes, my dear friends, we are just one across 143 countries, 3,52,000 members, 16,000 clubs. You walk into any club, you are welcomed in open arms. That's the power of Toastmasters. Where will you get it? I remember, when I was a youngster, I was walking with the chief executive officer of Alstom. And the moment he stepped out of the gate, he gave me one interesting point. Rajkumar, inside the company, you may be CEO. Outside, you are nobody. Please don't think that you are CEO outside as well. And that's where the learning is that in Toastmasters, we have a group of people whom we can reach out. So people network. And the last part I want to talk about is a concept called give and take. I was reading a book by Adam Grant, a very successful in Stanford, one of these universities. He wrote a book called Give and Take. And interestingly, he's a sociologist and human psychologist. He talks about that. Tell me who are the people who you think will be more successful? The people who take, who get people out of things and make them do work, or the people who give, selflessly give their advice, their learnings. And he proves with data, with research, that givers are 3 times more successful than takers. And Toastmasters is a platform where I would say we join to gain something for us, right? You want to become good speaker, good communicator, a better leader. But we stay in Toastmasters because we want to give back to Toastmasters. We want to give them back mentors as our wisdom, our suggestions, our advice, our learnings. There's so much to give, yeah. And therefore, why should I leave Toastmasters? Have I stopped giving? That's the only time I can leave. If I'm selfish and I say I've got whatever I've got to got from Toastmasters, and therefore I'm going, then you're a taker. But if you're a giver, I can challenge you. You'll never leave Toastmasters. With that thought, I just want to thank Great Orators by inviting me for this wonderful 121 meeting. We have a District 121 as well. And I wish the club all success in their future endeavors. If you wish to invite me or want me to mentor some of your members, I'll be more than happy to do it. I hope I made sense to all of you. I wish you all the best. Back to you, Tirth.
And we have another huge round of applause for this game. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir, for that motivating and inspiring session for why Toastmasters. Even I have wondered so many times whether how I should continue or what's in it for me or what can I actually get. And this speech right here is one of the reasons or several of the reasons that make me go in Toastmasters and outside of Toastmasters. Personally, I feel the same. This is like an experimental playground where you test your skills and expertise so that you can grow outside. You can use the same experience outside and grow outside. So thanks a lot for the same. It was a pleasure listening to you.
Thank you.
Now we have something very exciting planned for all of you, and I won't give it away. We have our dynamic Toastmaster and the club president, Debarshi, Toastmaster Debarshi, who will tell you about it more. So over to you, Toastmaster Debarshi.
Yeah, thank you, Tirth. That has been very warm introduction. So now we will go ahead with our table topic sessions. Fellow Toastmasters, guests, very good morning. I, Debarshi, host your table topic master for the day. Today, I am here to give you the opportunity to participate in one of the most interesting and exciting portion of the Toastmasters meeting. That's the table topic session. So, as many people to speak in a meeting as possible. And today, through this table topic session, I will try to uphold this tradition. So are you ready to speak? And so I mean, when I ask that, I mean all the guests, all the Greytip employees, and everyone else can participate into this table topic sessions. So till now we have heard our speakers. Now it's time for you to speak about what you thought on different topics given to you. But before we begin, let me read out the purpose of having a table topic session. So as defined by the Toastmasters, definitely. So the objective is to have members practice thinking and speaking on their feet. In a very broad perspective, the skills of impromptu speaking helps you throughout your career, and your home life as well. So to help you practice today, I have prepared few topics that will hopefully help you to meet this goal. And I encourage everyone, members, guests, everyone to give it a try. So for the benefit of the guests and as a reminder to our existing Toastmaster Club members, so let's revisit the timing rules for the table topics. So table topics are very short. You don't need to drag yourself for 5, 6, or even 8 minutes. So the table topics should last from 1 to 2 minutes. So there, please note there are 2 rules here. So after the topic is given to you, you have up to 30 seconds to think, and then you can begin. And the second rule is you need to speak for a minimum 59 seconds to qualify for the audience vote. Now, when I say audience vote, we do have an exciting prize for the best table topic speaker based on the audience poll. So let us begin the session now. So anyone wants to volunteer for the to speak first can just write your name in the chat section. I can give you a topic. So all the members present here in the meetings, anyone can come and raise your hand. I mean, you can text in the chat section so that I can know your name and give you a topic. Anyone wants to volunteer first? Or do you want me to pick from the list? Okay, Liz has joined us after, yeah, Mohana has, okay, no, sorry, Mohan, yeah. Thanks, Mohan. So, 1 second, let me pick the topic for you. Okay, so I'll now call upon Mohan. Before you start speaking, please announce your name, and also I want to inform our tag team to take a note. So Mohan, your topic for today is so what is the best thing you own? Yeah, so and why? So that's a topic, Mohan.
Okay, thank you, Debarshi. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Awesome, thank you. So, just give me a second. Let me think.
So Mohan, before you start, for the timer's concern, you start saying your name, and then the timer will start now. Also, you have 30 seconds to think and then start.
Yes, thank you, Debarshi. All right. Hi, Prasanna.
Yeah,
My name.
yeah, you can go ahead, please.
Yeah. So, hi everybody. Very good morning and happy Teachers Day first and all. Right. So, in fact, just like Anjum sir told, I'm very connected to the Teachers Day as both my parents are teachers also. Right. So, the best thing which I own, probably you can say, our family. Mainly, I think that's the first thing. When whatever endeavor I tried to do, they supported me from the scratch, frankly. So there are often times where I completely disregarded their word and I tried to completely follow on my own decision and paths. Even though they're unhappy, they simply supported me. And I learned everything, from my childhood, everything along with them because their teachers, I used to go there and I used to learn in the same school. So my entire childhood was like that. Right. And same way, the way they admonish me or the way they silently support me, that's what the best thing I could ask for, right? Even when we are away, right? They won't completely directly come and tell you what are you doing, why you haven't done. The first question they'll ask you is how are you, right? That's the first thing I seriously feel. Yes, I'm blessed to have somebody who can support me, right? I think that's the best thing I own in my life. Thank you. Over to you, Debarshi.
Thank you, Mohan. Hope timer has taken them note. So thanks for letting us know about your thing which you own best and why you own it. So we will move to next speaker. So anyone who wants to volunteer himself or herself can put your name in the chat box. Once I have the name, I can give you the topic. So we have 19 guests today. Anyone want to volunteer can please put your name in the chat box. I can give you the topic. Okay, Liz, yeah, definitely. Uh, okay. So Liz, for you, the topic is if you had to live in another time period. So what is the time? Which time period would you choose? It's 80 years, 100 years time period. If you wanted to live in another time period, what would you choose? So tag team, please make a note. Uh, Topic for Liz today is if you had to live in another time period, what would you choose? Liz. Liz, you can unmute yourself and start speaking.
Sure. Debarshi, just wanted to get a clarification on the question. The time period, does that mean like it's another century or different timeline?
Anything you want to say about it. That's on you completely.
Okay, I'll start. So good afternoon, good morning, everyone. There's anyways 2 minutes left for afternoon. So my name is Liz, and my question for today is, if you had to live in another time period, which period would you choose? I think the time period that I would choose would be the 90s. I think one is because I mean that year kind of is a year when I grew up, and that actually helps me, one thing that I've realized in the current period, the old period, and what I've seen will happen in the future period. I think the 90s period was really nice because the reason being that was a time when humans interacted much more in people, we had less technology, so there was a lot of human interaction. One thing that we are missing right now is the human interaction because of all the technology that's come up, and because of which that human touch, which is very very important, that's losing its value. So I think that would have been the best century, because at that time, at that point of time in that century, I've got to interact with. It would have been fun to know people more, to understand the world in a better and different way. And it's there was a time when we had to invent or research things. Now we have everything ready made, but that time we had to put effort and hard work, and the satisfaction that we get once we create something is enormous. So I think that is a century that I would have loved to live. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Liz. So even I had the same choice. I would love to go to the 19th century to know, because I'm very curious about the people's life in the 19th century, how they used to live. And we are just the next generation. So we're always curious about the just previous generation, how it used to be. Whether all the things our parents say or their parents say that they have lived like is really true, or it was just to fool us. They said that life was so difficult for them. So yeah, with that note, so we would like to have the next speaker. Anyone wants to volunteer, can put your name in the chat section. I would also again like to remind there is exciting prize for the best speaker. So anyone want to grab the prize also can come forward and nominate yourself to speak on the next topic. Do you want me to speak? Okay, Mohana. Okay, fine, great, awesome. So yes. So the next topic I would like to put it more aligned towards today's theme, that is Teachers' Day. So Mohana, also tag team, please take a note. So Mohana, for you, the topic is how does this technology make teaching more simple and difficult? I mean, in today's date, we see that all teachers are giving e-teaching, teaching through Zoom or Meet, the online applications. So how does this technology make teaching more simple? Or do you think it's making difficult for them? Over to you, Mona.
Okay. Thank you, Debarshi, for the topic. Yeah. I'll just take 2 more seconds to come back, to think and come back. Okay. Hi, everybody. A very good afternoon to you all, and welcome to the open house of the Toastmasters. And happy Teachers' Day to one and all. And I think including me as well, if I've been teaching somebody indirectly, directly. So the topic that I've been given is about technology, whether it helps or does not help. Like everything has its pros and cons. I would speak from what I hear from my sister while my niece takes the classes, or from my friends' kids, is that the flip side is what I would first highlight is the problem is that if the students, especially the young ones, they are I mean it's the interaction that happens in the class, or the concentration or the attentiveness that is there in the class, where a teacher can monitor in front and keep a tab, is something gets difficult, because not everybody may be on the video and we don't know who is actually taking the class, whether the parent or the kid. Now, coming to the other side, the pros, yes, technology is the in thing, and there's a possibility it's a smaller group, and if there are ways of teaching is more modern, and it helps also in the application and the self-learning mode, which is also important than just one-sided learning. So and the children get more hands-on on the technology that will be the future of tomorrow. I think that's what it is with the time constraint, but thank you.
Thank you, Mona. So yeah, that's true what you just said. Because recently I have been speaking with a few parents. They were telling, rather complaining about this. They are able to see now how the teachers teach their kids in school. Now, while doing that, they're saying that the quality of the education, that the teachers' quality is not quite up to the mark. But it's actually they're not able to understand. So there are a lot of teachers who are aged and are used to teach the kids in school in a physical environment, while they're having the kids in virtual environment, and there are 20 odd kids at different places from their home comfort. So there are definite such should be some chaos, and they are not trained to handle that. So everyone is learning, and going forward with time, things should be better, I believe. With that note, yeah. So we would like to have two more double topics. So anyone else want to nominate? Please come forward and put your name in the chat section. Any names yet? Or do you want me to pick among you? Anyone? Just give it a try. Okay, we have Abhishek here, topping the list in the right side pen. Abhishek A. Hi, Abhishek. Oh, he left. Oh, God. Okay, so Kirti, are you there? Kirti, can you unmute yourself? Okay, I think she has. Okay, sure. Santosh, fine. Okay, so next topic again, it's kind of aligned towards today's theme, that's Teachers' Day. Before that, I want to ask you one question. So, do you remember the first day at school? Your first day at school? Do you remember that day as a kid? So, this is my question. Can you just unmute yourself and tell me, Santosh?
Sorry, I did not hear it properly.
What I'm saying is, do you remember your first day at school?
Yeah, I can share it.
You remember?
Let me think for a second.
In case you don't, I will have another topic for you.
No, it's fine. Very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Santosh, and happy Teachers' Day to one and all. So today's my topic is first day in the school. So before that, we start the topic. So teachers are a special blessing from God to us. Like they are the ones who build a good nation and make this world a better place. So when I will just share, I don't remember the first day in the school when I started in UKG or LKG. What I remember is when I shifted from one school to another school. It was around 6th standard. When I shifted, I was new to that school. Its name is Lal Bahadur Shastri School, where I was sitting in the second row, I think. So I was not aware the school discipline or the process they follow in the school. So everyone were making lot of sound and nuisance. All of the sudden, the social teacher got into the classroom. She saw everyone shouting and screaming. Suddenly, she make everyone stand up, and also she went outside and asked us to become a murga. So it's I don't know how we call it in English. So everyone become like a murga. Like I was the first one who was standing in the murga. I never know what will happen once you are become murga. So I was the one who was standing very first in the as a murga. So all the other people were in standing in the murga for as a queue. So all of the sudden she asked me to bend a little. So I was not aware what will happen. Suddenly, I got a beating on the backside. So that is when I realized this murga will be for the punishment. So I was not aware what was that. That's very funny thing. But this keeping aside, always teachers are the one who improve our living standards. So this is my experience on the first day in the school. Thank you so much, Debarshi.
Yeah, thank you, Santosh. Yeah. So again, as you told about your school, it's immediately made me. It reminded me about my first day at school. Actually, I do remember my first day at school. So when the school van came to pick all of us, uh, once the van reached the school, all the kids, I mean, there were around 18 kids sitting around me, and everyone started crying. And I was the only kid. I got scared crying, though I did not cry, but I was just wondering why they're crying in the first place. So that kept me wondering the entire day, and all the kids just kept crying the entire day. And I came back home and I said a small story about it to my mom. That mom, all the kids were crying. I don't know, maybe the benches were hurting them, something like that, but I felt fine. So that is the only memory I remember, but it was my first day at school. And after that, whenever I remember, I kind of feel brave. So I was the only kid who was not crying, probably. So with that note, we will have one more last table topic. So any guest want like to nominate yourself, please come forward. So there is only one last table topics left.
Sorry to interrupt, Debarshi. Distinguished Toastmaster Raj has another session where he is presenting, so he would like to drop off. Thanks a lot, sir. The speech was really amazing and inspiring. Thanks a lot for attending and being here with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm sorry I had to drop off for the session starting in just 10 minutes. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. CTO Anjum Sayeed, for gracing the occasion. We are really thankful for leaders like you. I must say that in my company, our leaders help the club by being present in such meetings, and your presence really will boost great orators. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj.
Bye, sir.
Okay, so do you have any speaker? Otherwise, we would close the table topic session if no one comes up. Okay, awesome. So here goes the last table topic of the day of this session. So, there are so many profound teachers in the world, or maybe you had various subject teachers in your schools and your college as well. So if I would like to ask you, in which other teacher's class would you like to enroll even for a day? It can be a global known person or anyone of your favorite list. In which other teacher's class would you like to enroll even for a day, and why? You understood the topic, Prasanna?
Yeah, I got it.
Yes. Captain, please take a note. Over to you, Prasanna.
Anybody is noting my timer, or I should note myself?
Oh, that constraint is there.
I will only note it down, not an issue.
No problem, no problem.
I can do that.
Santosh, you will do it. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll write in the chat.
Sure. It is open now, not an issue. You can chat there. Okay, so I'll start. Good afternoon, everybody. So there were two teachers. One is in the school and another one is in college. Okay, so one in the school, his name was Fauzdar, and he was Hindi teacher. Okay, so he used to come relaxedly, and he used to sit and he used to talk to everybody, and he used to joke. Okay, and the chapter how he takes is like he used to tell the story to everybody, and he was relating to somebody. Okay, so he will say, stand up, you will become this part. what you will do in this situation. Like that, he used to do it for 1 hour, and we'll never know like that 1 hour has already passed. Okay, like that he was telling the stories in an interesting manner. So because of this reason, what happened, even we were not reading the books and textbooks of Hindi. So like that only we were going to the examinations, and we were writing the exams, and we were scoring 80, 90 like that. Okay, so that I would like to sit in his class. Okay, so he was one of the good teachers. Okay, and second is Saileja madam, who was in diploma. Okay, so I done a diploma in electrical, but the way she was teaching to us is like she used to put a graph, like how this flows, how when it will trip off, all that she will tell the story, and she will tell us to write the notes. So even in that class also, we used to follow her very easily, and we used to bring 70 to 80% at least without reading any books. So these are the two teachers, they have impressed me in my life. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Prasanna.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, it was great listening to you about your teachers. You remember your teachers and you love them. That's a great thing. So even today's date, whenever we see our teachers from our schools or colleges, we do feel emotional, and we immediately go back to those days when they used to teach us. So that's nice to know. So with that, last topic of the table topic session today, I would like to close the table topic. But all of you people present here can poll the best speaker in the table topics. I'll post the link in the chat section. So you need to just click on the link, and you need to select the best speaker. So
it was posted, Debarshi.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I posted once again. But anyway, both the links are same. Both the links are same. They can just click on it and poll for it. So you have some time. Meanwhile, I'll just give this podium to Toastmaster of the day, TM Tirth. Over to you, TM Tirth.
Thank you very much for that wonderful session. The topics were really nice, and it helped us reminisce about our childhood. So thanks a lot, Toastmaster Debarshi. By the time you are voting, if someone would like to say something about their childhood or their teachers who guided them or motivated them, the floor is open to you. Anyone in the meet can just unmute and start speaking about the same. Is there anyone who would like to share? We have many people in the meet. There's Toastmaster Sharath, Azhar, Asim.
So actually, I told I go to my parents' school, right? So I was very bad student. It's like I won't do any homework or anything at all, right? So every day I used to get beaten by my father in front of full class just because I haven't done anything, and that used to continue for almost 2 to 3 years. Yeah, like that it went on. But fortunately, I was a little bright, and I used to come in the first, right? So it went on like.
Thank you, Krishna. Okay, anyone else would like to share?
Hi, Azhar here. So I just wanted to share one incident, because I remember one of the incident which I had with my teacher. So, and at school times, I was usually a bit of a backbencher. I hope you know what a backbencher is. So I used to be naughty and used to crack jokes. And there was a teacher who was a Kannada teacher. So she asked a doubt, and I made a joke on that. She did not, let us say, punish me instantly. So she waited. So after the class got over, she, let us say, took me separately. She made me understood how it feels humiliating. So if she would have punished me in front of the whole class, I would have been humiliated. So from that moment or from that instance, it changed me a lot. So from there on, I stopped doing that. So in a separate way, she helped me to, let us say, overcome my naughtiness or the school days of being a last bench student. And she also made me, let us say, only for her class, I was the leader from there on. And I excelled in Kannada from there on because I showed more interest in her class. And while joining before this session, I just called her and I was reminded by that incident. So I just wanted to share that.
Thanks a lot for sharing that, Azhar. So while we wait for results, let's hear something from our guests. Maybe you could tell us about the meet, how it went today, or some feedback about the meet, or if you have any questions about Toastmasters in general. So please just unmute yourself. For this, at least I have to ask every one of you to speak. Let's start with Asim. If you're here, please unmute yourself and tell us how the meet was today.
Yeah, hi Tirth. Good afternoon, everyone. It was really nice to hear, people talking about their, remembered stories and experience they had in their lives. This was really good to hear that. And apart from that, there were a lot of, topics, which was given to audiences to speak about, on various topics. And that was also is really good, wonderful. And Toastmaster Club is a really a good platform, for the people to learn and educate themselves and to come out on the platform and to speak up in front of everyone and to take out that fear, whatever they have in their mind. And generally each and everyone has a stage fear. They have to get rid of that, by allowing themselves to prove that they are not, they can't do anything. They can do much more than what they are capable of, but only the thing is initial kickoff is required for everyone. So the moment we encourage each and everyone, so obviously we will get motivated, so we'll get a good chance to recognize ourselves that yes, people recognize our speaks, recognize our hard work, whatever you have been given the topic to speak of. I would say Toastmaster is really good and they are doing great work, and I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Asim. I would definitely love to see you in our future meets as well. With that kind of enthusiasm, definitely you can give a lot to the club and also take away from the club. So thanks a lot for sharing that. Can we have one more testimonial, maybe from Sharath? Could you tell us what was your best takeaway from today's meet? Are you here, Sharath?
Sharath, are you there, Sharath?
No issues. Probably he's facing some internet issues. Probably. So meanwhile, we will move ahead with the lucky wheel thing.
Yes.
So, Santosh, are you there? You can share your screen as well. Yeah.
Let me share my screen.
Santosh, you may want to give an introduction. What is it all about?
Sure, sure. So we are picking a lucky winner from the list of guests we attended. We have not included club officers here. Only the guests who have attended the meeting. We have added all those names, and we are trying to pick a lucky winner, and he will be awarded with a gift. I think Venugopal has been picked as a winner.
Awesome. Congratulations, Venugopal.
I think he's dropped off. Yeah.
No problem. Yeah. Stop sharing my screen. Over to you, Debarshi.
Yes, so thank you, Santosh. So Venugopal, you have just won goodies from our side. We will mail you the details. And also, Venugopal, are you there right now with us?
No, Debarshi.
Okay, no issues. We'll probably connect with him later after the meeting. Great. So next, we will announce the winner of the best speaker, table topic speaker of the day. I'll share my screen with you. I mean, the votes say anonymous, but still, I'll just 1 second. Okay, I have put that in the chat section, if everyone can see. Congratulations, Liz.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, also we have a certificate for you. Can everyone see the screen? So Liz, this is for you. We'll send this.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes, so we have, so again, Liz, you have also own goodies from our side, and obviously the certificate. Congratulations once again. Keep joining us in the next meetings and win more goodies. So with that note, I would like to hand over the session to TMOD of the day, TM Tirth. Over to you, Tirth.
Thank you. Congratulations, Liz. On that note, would you like to tell us about your experience today and what you gained from the same?
I think, just to share my experience, it was a wonderful session. I have been missing a lot of session. I think the last session was when I joined on the first day, when I joined Greytip, and suddenly, there's this Toastmaster session and I'm brought in, and, there's suddenly all of these activities. So I was not at all prepared, but it was so exciting. And today I felt the same excitement. In fact, it was double. And it felt so nice. I mean, I was like, I wanted to tell Debarshi, give me a simple topic. I'm not ready for anything. But it felt so nice to think about, go back. I mean, the question was so relatable to go back to the childhood. And even since we are celebrating Teachers' Day, that was the time era, So it actually took me back, and I just realized that how beautiful time, how many memories we all have created. It's only that right now we don't have time to think about it. And I think that's one thing that I've realized, and I think I should find some time and cherish all those memories. And I think that's a big thank you to all of you to give that opportunity to take me back to the childhood and bring back my old memories. So thank you so much. This was an amazing experience.
Thanks a lot, Liz, for sharing that very honestly. So we move on to our last segment, and which is the vote of thanks proposed by our dear club president, Toastmaster Debarshi. So over to you.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah. Oh, sorry. So, thank you everyone for joining the session. And about today's theme, or why Toastmasters is important, and why do we even have the open house? Why we often find ourselves trying to be a better communicator always. I mean, we speak so much about better communications, and be a communication, how much is important and all. So even the best speaker in the world, trust me, even the best speaker in the world still finds himself learning new methods probably every day. So strive to learn more, because learning increases our wisdom. And obviously our wisdom creates the identity for us as an adult. And since we all are working in a working professionals, and it's important to reflect as well. So a very easy quick hack for us to become better is to reflect upon, is to keep the childlike attitude towards learning. You might have observed how enthusiasm all the kids are around us while learning. And keep alive the crave for more knowledge. So enrich yourself every day. Our teachers reflected upon us. With time, it's our responsibility to have a near to similar reflections. In case you think that our teacher was amazing, we can't reach there, but that's okay. You can have still a similar reflection towards the society, to make a mark, to make everyone's life better. So with that note, I invite everyone to explore and enjoy the Toastmasters journey with us, and have innovative or fun way of learning, and obviously celebrating life. So thank you, Anjum sir, uh, for joining us today. Thank you, Raj sir. He left already. And thank you all the guests, and everyone who has joined this session. Special thanks to TM Tirth, our area director, TM Swamik, our tag team, Mona and Santosh, and everyone else who has put so much efforts to make this event happen. So anyone who would like to know more about our Toastmasters Club uh, can have your query, mail me, or put me in in driver chat for anything as well. You can. Thank you all. Thank you for having me. Happy Teachers Day, everyone. Have a great weekend ahead. Over to TMT.
Thank you very much. Yes, with that, I again, and I mean, I want to thank all of you for attending this meet and being patient for the whole time. It was indeed amazing, and it was a great experience for me as well to host this meet. So thanks a lot to the GreytOrators Toastmasters Club for this opportunity. And I would like to thank all of you for being patient, for being encouraging, and for even putting your inputs wherever that was necessary. Thanks a lot, Anjum sir, for that wonderful speech. Of course, Raj sir, who is not right now in the meet, for that wonderful speech as well. I learned a lot, and this was definitely the Teachers' Day spent well. So thanks a lot, and I would like to hand it back to Toastmaster Debarshi to adjourn the meet.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So yeah, so here, thank you everyone. Have a very happy weekend ahead, and here I adjourns the meeting. See you all again in the next meet.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Bye. See